Peace, peace, peace. What it is, family. It's your brother Tavon Sueno, aka the Orthodox Moor. Here with my good brother, School of Innerstanding, and we're about to chop it up on a couple of things here. The other day, I made a video based upon my concepts of the Trinity and Triunity, based upon the Bible and the Quran and whatnot. My brother wanted to have a dialogue based upon some things that I said in uh, that video. So, without further ado, um, would you mind, brother man? Would you mind introducing yourself and I guess kind of repeat what we were just talking about?
Okay, salam, brother. Yeah, first of all, I wanted to hop on because I respect you as a seeker of truth. You know what I'm saying? Usually, I can't have these type of dialogues with certain people because they're quick to defend and not quick to, hear and understand. You know what I'm saying? So, basically, I heard this show the other day about the Trinity and the triunity of the Most High. And I thought it was a good show. I thought you brought out aspects that most people aren't privy to, as far as, most people think of a Trinity as the Father as one third of whatever God is called, whether you call him Yahweh or Yahweh or Jehovah or Yah, whatever your terminology is for that. Um, Many people, whatever their concept of God is, a lot of people divide this concept into many beings. And I'm not even sure if that's your stance. So that's why I first wanted to have the conversation to understand what is your understanding of the concept of God. But as far as that show, I thought it was a great show of breaking down, excuse me, of breaking down the Trinity versus the triune aspect of the one. And so, yeah, my disagreement was, or not even a disagreement, I just needed to get further understanding because from what I understood, I see it differently from when you say that specifically Yeshua, the New Testament, refers to the scripture, ye are gods or you are Elohim, right? And then you went on to say basically, Yeshua or Jesus is saying that he is Elohim or he is one with God. And I just wanted to get your understanding of that because it seems like you made the distinction or the division between the two, whereas he says they are one. So I just wanted to get your understanding before we proceed. And, as I said before we went live, is that in order to understand what God isn't, we must understand what he is. And so, yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, so I think one question you asked me was what in how I see God. Do I see it as like the henotheistic concept or not?
Yeah, correct.
And definitely so in the sense to where I believe that there's one God, but there's also many aspects and faces to the one God, right? So in the video I point out the concept of the Shema in Deuteronomy 6, where it's uh, Shema Yisrael Yahweh Elohim Yahweh Yahad, or say O Israel, or hear O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. But it specifies. Oh, got my brother Bernie jumping in there, right? That's what's up. Hey, peace. What's up, Islam, brother Bernie?
Peace, peace.
Peace,
All right.
peace.
Yes, sir. Islam, you and yours. But yeah, so in the Shema, it definitely is showing the concept of the Ahad being one and unified, right? So it's saying that Yahweh, like Yahweh is a singular, YHWH is a singular pronoun and whatnot. Elohim is a plural form of the emphatic concept of the God, right? Eloah, right? So the God is a singular, but Elohim is used as a plural form, right? And so it's saying that like that Yahweh Elohim, like the plural form, is unified still, right? Is one Yahweh, right? Um,
Yeah.
and so we see Jesus saying the same thing, and I believe Mark chapter 12 and whatnot. Um, and so when he's talking about this concept of ye are gods or whatnot, um, So again, in that moment, there he saying he says the Father is greater than all. Then he says I and my Father are one. And so the Jews are like, hey, you're saying that you're the Father. And he's saying, no, I'm not saying I'm the Father. I'm saying I'm unified with the Father, right? Like, so it's like in the concept of like, I'm not saying that I am all of the Father, right? And so he recites to them something from Psalms, right? Psalms 82, where it says, is it not written that it says that ye are gods? And then the remainder of the verse stipulates in children of the Most High, right? So so when it says ye are gods, it literally says ye are Elohim. So he's talking about the plural aspect, not the singular aspect, right? But the plural aspect that can be unified with the singular aspect. Does that make sense? And so how I read it, he doesn't ever claim to be Eloah or the singular form of Yahweh. He claims to be the plural form or whatnot. And this is further emphasized when he's on the cross. He calls out to Eloah. He says, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is which. So that is the singular form, right? So in that case, I'm also saying that we are, like, again, each individual, like you, me, everyone else, is an incarnation of an aspect of the one, but is not the totality of the one in and of ourselves, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But we are all connected. We are unified in ahad with the one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I see. So yeah, I see where we part ways. In which I agree that all manifestation is and this is where I don't know if we agree or disagree, that I believe all manifestation is an aspect of the one, right?
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
But to even say it's an aspect of the one denotes there's something separate, like, because the way words work, it always divides things. So I just want to ask you, from the perspective of the Quran, does it say anywhere that Allah fills heaven and earth?
Allah fills heaven and earth.
Yeah, or anything to that similar to. Like, I'm not sure. I'm just asking you from your recollection.
Like in the aspect of Allah being within nature?
Yeah, or within every, like, nothing.
Yeah,
contains. Yeah, basically.
No, he breathed his spirit and made souls in nature, right? And so it talks about the souls returning back to him as well. To Allah is the return.
Yes.
That this is like where the Sufis get their concept of Qayyum, El Qayyum and whatnot, the sustainer, right? Like in order to be alive, you got to be connected to the source or whatnot.
Yeah, but yeah, and so what you would think is that whatever is breathed out, is it independent of the source, or is it nothing but the source?
It can't be independent of the source. It came from the source. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's it came from the source. Like, it's connected to the source, right?
Yeah. And so, is there anything? Let me ask you this: is there anything in life that is not the source?
That which will fall and like that which will decay and pass away and is not infinite. You know, the finite. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Okay. Perfect. And so, things like bodies, we would say they're finite, correct?
Yeah.
And so, do you believe that in each and every being, there's an aspect of the eternal?
Yes. That would be like the animating force that makes you that makes you alive, period, right? Without which you are dead.
Yes. And so, that eternal aspect of beings, whatever it is that, in your understanding, is that the Father? Or the highest, whatever you want to call him.
It is connected to the Father.
So okay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, so when I'm saying it is connected, like, so that's what I'm saying. It's almost as there's a separation. That's what I'm saying. When one says it's connected and it's not the highest, you're bringing in separation. So that's what I want to know. Where's that separation, or what is that separation?
Oh, fantastic. So, in the concept, so I'll say this: the concept of energy, right? let's just call the animating force to all life some form of energy, right? Energy can't be created or destroyed or whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get down into the concept of what energy is or whatnot, you're getting into like the quantum realm and whatnot. And so at that juncture, you're talking about the concept of like wave particles, et cetera, whatnot, and concepts of like things existing in superposition, but having the ability to collapse into a singularity. So the superposition concept is like infinity, right? That is the infinity concept. It's every possibility that could ever possibly exist, et cetera, whatnot, right? In infinitum or whatnot. However, when the observer looks upon or gazes upon it, it collapses into a singularity, right? So in the sense that for instance, our bodies, for instance, shoot electricity throughout our body, right? There's like electrical impulse throughout from our brain, our hearts, etc., going throughout our body and our nervous system, etc., whatnot, right? But we don't literally create that energy. It's coming from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like in the concept of it's not being created or destroyed, it's being tapped into from somewhere else, right? It's not like our body's not creating it; it's tapping into it. Does that make sense? And the part that where it's being tapped into, it's obviously not an infinite occurrence. When our bodies go, you know what I'm saying, it's not that particular form of energy is not firing in our bodies anymore, right? So it's going back to its source in a sense, right? Or it's in some form or another, right? When it's collapsed into a singularity, I'm saying it's not the full infinite concept, although within it is the concept of infinity. Does that make sense? When it's not collapsed into a singularity, now we're talking about the full infinity concept, right? We're talking about the full source at that juncture.
Yes. And so would you say, okay, I think I understand what you're saying. So each of our experiences would be a collapse into singularity.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
And so, and I understand that. So, but what I'm saying is that which observes, because this is what quantum physicists they can never get to the observer. But we are all the observer. You understand what I'm saying? And
right.
the reason you can never get to the observer is because it's not the observed, it's the observer. But you are the observer. Just like the Quran states, God is the knower. You understand? Right. You are the knower. I am the knower. Brother Bernie is the knower of experience, right? And so that knower can never be observed. But that knower is not limited to the observed either. And this is getting too deep. I want to stick on the surface of I don't want to get too deep right now. I just want to stick on the surface of God being, or how is that we are separate from the source? Because if I can point, or it could be shown that what we truly are is eternal, right? There's only one eternal. That's what the Quran states. That's what the Bible states. That's what any holy book I have ever read states. So if each one of us are that, in our or the appearances of whatever that is just aspects of that, then of course the appearances come and go. But that which observes is ever present and always eternal. And so when I say when I say that which we are, right, or that is the most high in each and every being, you would say, yeah, but you would say we are connected. And where we split is, I would say that is the most high, appearing as the many, or not even appearing, but observing as the many, should I say.
I wouldn't disagree with that. What I would say is it's not all of the most high. Like, anything collapsed into a singularity can't be all, right?
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is,
that's the only thing I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, and what I'm saying is that our experience is the collapse, not that which we are. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So any separation concept is an illusion.
Exactly.
That's what I was trying to clarify. Like, I don't say separate. You know, that's why I say like it's connected, but it's not the all. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the only. So for instance, like, so Jesus is being real technical. Like, so he's like you're claiming that I'm saying I'm the all. It's like, no, I'm saying I'm something that can collapse. Like, I'm a collapsed singularity. Long story. He's like, no, he's like, but within me is the all, and that's what y'all aren't teaching the people. You know what I'm saying? Within y'all is the all. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, so that's what he was getting into with the people, is breaking down, like, and that's why he's like, if you understand this concept, you will have eternal life, etc., etc. Like he's like, no, I'm linking you to the eternal, etc., whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, but I'm not saying it's just me. I'm saying it says ye are all Elohim.
Yes, and yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and that's from. And see, I think we disagree just on what Jesus is actually expressing there when he says Elohim. And I understand how you come to your understanding by just the breakdown of the etymology of the words. But what I understand him to be saying is that ye are, because if you understood what you truly are, you would know that you are the totality, right, of Allah, the Most High, whatever you want to name it. But in expression, it only appears as a piece or a singularity.
Right. And so no, go.
So when he says ye are Elohim, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, Elohim is like the word, like the English word news. It's a news is a plural word, but it could refer to a singularity. You understand? Well, give me the news. It's not a multiplicity of news, it's one news. You understand what I'm saying? But it could be also a multiplicity. So so when that scripture is read, and the reason they wanted to stone him is because they knew he was, because and this is what I wanted to understand from you. When he says he is Elohim, you're saying that he is connected and not actually the source. Is that what you were saying?
That he is not the totality of the source, that he is the source collapsed into a singularity.
Yes, and okay, yeah, and that's where I disagree, because I think he is saying that he is the totality. But all you see, and this is the reason why certain levels of teachings are needed, because all that one sees is, like, if I said I was the Most High, all you see from outside is just the body. You understand? And so
hold on, real quick. Let me see if I hear what you're saying. Like, so because there's an aspect to where English is really, really horrible in trying to describe the quantum realm, right? Like, so when you're saying, like, is the totality, like, in a sense you are correct, right? But I just to understand, like, so are you saying that like, so you are also the totality? I am also the totality. Bernie Bay is also the totality.
Yes, you in
okay,
essence.
So I can't, like, on a quantum realm, I literally cannot argue with that, because that's literally the truth, right? Like, in terms, like, so I was going to give the examples for, like, a lot of people give a poor example, like, yeah, like, the way you're saying it's like God is an ocean, and, like, you're like a cup of water from the ocean, and, like, you can subtract from the ocean. Like, no. Like, so in the proper way of understanding it, God is an infinite ocean that can never be tired when you take something out of it, and the cup that you take out of it is infinite in and of itself as well. To where, like, if you took a spoonful from the cup, the spoonful from the cup would be just as infinite as the ocean.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. That's a perfect example.
And in the same breath, Jesus also says, "What I am and what I have done, you also is and shall be, because I go to the Father." So he still lets it known that we are all. You know, you just got to tap into that within, and then outward expression, you become that Elohim from the reflection of that light that's within.
Exactly. And so that was my point, as far as, because if what Jesus is trying to teach is the ultimate truth that sets one free, knowing we're just expressions, we're still limited. You understand? And limitation can never set one truly free. You understand? Only knowing that you're eternal can you be freed, and not knowing in words, like I'm just telling somebody they're eternal. You have to know it through experience. But only knowing you're eternal sets you free from the bounds of death. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I think he was pointing to something deeper in that verse. You know what I'm saying? Because of course we are all, and that's even a hard concept to grasp, that we are all aspects of the one divinity. But even saying that, we're going from the realm of things actually existing, when from where I'm speaking, only God exists. And so when we're speaking of things, it's it kind of gets convoluted, because when we're born, we're born into a world of things, right? But actually, all these things are just configurations of the one presence, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Hey, shalom, brother. Shalom, brother Gideon.
Yeah, shalom.
Shalom. What's good? What's good? School.
What's good,
Hey,
bro?
more good to see you doing your thing, my brother. And to the other brother, I guess, just come on. Shalom, everybody. I just come to check out and just
feel free to jump in, brother, man.
Bill.
Yeah. Shalom.
Yeah. Well, I see you speaking on the Trinity, and me myself, I don't recognize the Trinity, but this is what I will say. A lot of the things that we see, man, like for instance, man, woman, and child. I feel that's the concept of the Most High, meaning that's we are made in the image of the Creator. So I feel the way that the people who interpret these scriptures now, they interpret it without like truly understanding the way we looked at our scriptures, you know what I'm saying, and our Elohim. So I do believe in Yahweh the Father, Yahweh the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of Yah. I believe those three things, are Akkad. So that's probably the closest, I can even get to, explaining how I look at the mystery of the Elohim head,
Yeah, that goes more into what you were teaching about the other day. So I'll let you speak on that.
School, were you done saying what you were saying before?
Yeah, because it passed my mind, so I can't even remember it.
So I was actually trying to share the link and whatnot, so I kind of heard that with one ear, not both. So you want to run it past me one more time, Gideon, right quick?
Basically, it's Yahweh the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh, and those they're Akkad. It's one. Meaning, when you look at the Most High, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he's omniscient and if he's omnipresent, knowing all things, and he the Most High is everywhere, right? He exists outside of everything, or the Most High exists outside of everything. With that being said, when he tells the prophets that he's gonna deliver up the Son of Man to be as a sacrifice for the nation, and when he says it's gonna be his arm and his back that's gonna be revealed to the smiters, logically looking at that, you cannot have the Most High in one being. Like Yeshua could not be all of the Most High. So then you're saying he's no more omnipresent. He's centralized and he's focused. So Yeshua is the word, the very word of the Most High. That's why they say he's the first brought forth. They say first begotten of the Most High. But what is really saying, Yeshua is the first that's brought forth from the Most High. Therefore, he's not created. He's brought forward. So I look at the Ruach HaKodesh as the working power, and it's the same logic. Like if you have the spirit of Yahweh that comes into you, once again, if we're looking at the concept of the Most High as being omnipresent, that cannot be the all of the all, but it's still all of the all. So all of those identities, for lack of a better word, that's Yahweh Elohim. And it harkens to the corruption that the Egyptians these Neo or our brothers who study Egyptian literature today, they got the concept, but they it's been corrupted, as man, woman, and child. That in all actuality, that is the concept of Elohim, but they bastardize it, especially in the past, where they would try to make a separate wife for the Elohim, when it's not like that. It's a God. So, make a long story less long. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. And so to be clear, like, I can rock with that, and this is where I was trying to make clarification, because like once you start you cross the realm from finite to infinite, the language does get funny. Like, so in the sense to where like in the school of thought that I come from, we talk about the concept of a seed having all the attributes of the source from which it came, right, and having the ability to unfold into the same thing that the source was, right. But in that concept, we also talk about the fact that in that full unfolding, you would have to shed certain layers of the self, in the sense to where, like, if I was going to fully unfold into the potency of the infinity of the Most High within me, I would no longer be in a physical form.
Right.
Like, so,
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, that's why I wanted to clarify with Brother School, in the sense where, like, I don't disagree in the fact where, like, we have all the potency and the attributes of the Most High within us, right? But what I'm saying is, if we were to fully realize that potency, we would no longer be a singularity. We would be.
Okay, I got you. I got what you're saying, more, and I would agree with that. You feel me?
Yeah. Let me say this. That was actually a good concept, but the thing is that you could still be in the physical form, because the unmanifested God, the Most High, the Godhead, like, that's another another concept people misconstrue, is Godhead simply means the highest. It's not like a group of beings, the Godhead. Like, it's,
and you say it's unmanifested.
Yeah, the unmanifested. You are actually the unmanifested, right? And when I say you, I mean essentially you. That's why it's essential to know.
Right. No, I'm kind of concentrating on the word unmanifested. So it hasn't been brought to light. It hasn't been brought forward.
Meaning there's no one that can see it. It's not. It has no form, no shape. It's not in time and space. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by unmanifested, right? And what I'm saying is that, to Moore's point, that in order to unravel all those layers, as you were saying in your parable, it's not physically you have to do it, because there's really nothing physical when you actually see what everything is made of in your own experience. This is not philosophy. You could actually experience this within your own experience. You will see that what you essentially are, that what you call I, is not in time and space. It's not part of the manifested world, but that which we believe we are is one of the things in manifestation, meaning this body and my mind, or my thoughts, my brain. You understand? And so when you unravel all those layers, what you come to, even in this life, as you sit, anybody could do this with some introspection. You will see that what you call I actually never comes and goes. There's no beginning or ending. And so, as you said that parable, I actually see some wisdom in it. But I don't believe you have to leave the physical to actually experience your unlimited self.
I don't disagree with it. I'm just saying, if you were to fully unfold into that unlimited self, you would not be in the singular anymore. That's all I'm saying.
Well, maybe your consciousness wouldn't, because our consciousness is focused on the singular, right? But when you unfold backwards, the manifestations still appear, but you are dwelling in the unlimited, eternal, although the manifestations still appear. if that makes sense. It's like, and I could only give examples, right, of what I'm talking about for the mind to comprehend. But I use this analogy a lot of the TV screen in the movie, right? Once the movie ends, that ending of the movie does not end the television screen. The screen is always present in every scene, ever present, right? And when the movie ends, the screen goes nowhere and another movie appears, right? So nothing that happens on the TV screen affects the literal screen, although the screen is always present during the manifestation, if that makes sense. And so that the TV screen in this analogy would be comparable to the unlimited, that is not limited to any appearance that appears upon it. Just like we are not limited to any appearance that appears within us, whether it's a thought, a feeling, or
Right. I can dig that. So my question to you would be then, because I can see what you're saying. The TV is the all in the all, right? So
yeah,
what I get from you is that the shows that, like, say for instance, the VCR movies that we put in it, you say those are all different, but they're all on that screen. So I'm looking at how you're breaking it down as, we humans, we're not the TV, but this what you say. You also say that the VCR tape that's playing that certain image, you're saying that's the all in the all also, whereas I don't see it like that, because when that VCR comes out of that player and comes off of that screen, and that VCR tape being us, we can go to other gods being other TV screens. So we have that ability, and it's also backed up by scripture, wherein that's Genesis 6, if I'm not mistaken, it says that he will not strive with man. Because this is how I look at it. According to the scriptures, the Most High, he walked with man, and he was a God with man in the beginning. There was no death among us. Yeshua says that Adam, when he sinned, that brought death into the world. So there was no death before that. So once Adam fell, it caused that separation, and we continue to see it when the Most High says he would not always contend with man, and his spirit shall depart from man. And it was only through priests, with Melchizedek being, I don't want to say the first, but being in the line of those priests that communicated with the Most High. They brought the VCR tape to that TV. So I don't see us being as part of the all anymore, because the only thing that we are given in the beginning is that breath, and that breath, it comes from the all, but it's given to us, and we separated ourselves from it being forever. That's why we die. That's why our flesh decay. So I can see the TV being the all, but I want to see how you see the images, the TV shows being part of the all when they can go to another TV screen.
Yeah, no problem. But I'm gonna hit your points, but I want to get to more, because I was specifically speaking to more, and see if he understood what I was saying.
Okay.
More, you stepped away. All right, since he stepped away, what you're basically saying is that, see, I think you took, like you said, the show can go to another TV screen. Run that by me one more time.
Give me 2 minutes right quick. I'm fixing my uncle something to eat right quick. I'll be
Yeah,
right
back.
Nah, you good. You good. So, in your analogy of the TV screen, like you're saying, it doesn't matter what's being played. That TV screen is still the TV, and you was describing the TV as the all. Yes. But if I'm not mistaken, you also would say that the images that's being portrayed upon the all is the all. Yes. Whereas I say Whereas I say that image can transfer itself to another TV, which is, in your analogy, another God. That's another all in the all. So I'm right.
Yeah. Okay. Let me describe that, because what's happening is we're taking the analogy outside of what the analogy is pointing to, and so what I'm basically saying is that if we're just taking the screen itself and the images that appear upon the screen, nothing else, not going to another one. We're just taking this example, right? The images that appear on the screen are not really people. They're nothing but modulations of the screen that appear like people. They are nothing but the screen, right? Their appearance is made of the screen. And when that appearance leaves, it collapses back into the screen. Right. So what you were saying is that, okay, this same image could be placed on another screen, right?
Right.
Or
But
whether
if it's just a one TV analogy, then
it's a
I can
one
see.
TV.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
I can
Yeah,
see
that's what
that. Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that all the images are made of nothing but the screen, yet nothing on the screen could affect the screen itself. You understand
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
the
No,
same with
I'm
us.
just because I can dig the TV being the all in the all, but it's just the images, because once you get another image, that other image is gone. It'll never come back again. So it is no longer it's no longer still part of the all, because the all is ever present. It's always
Exactly.
there.
It's
But
always there,
those
but
right, but those
yeah,
images, right, but
oh,
those
but
images
those
are not always there.
yeah, but that doesn't mean they're not the all, right? And the reason is because all of the images that you see are nothing but expressions of the screen. They're expressions of the screen. If the screen was not there, those expressions would not be there. They have no
Right.
they have no
But
independent existence other than the screen.
right. But are those images, like I'm saying, are they ever present? See, that's like it got to
Yeah,
have all common denominators to
exactly.
be equivalent to the all. So
Yeah.
like,
And
okay, it's part of the all. It's put forward by the all, but it's not ever present like the all. You see what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Yeah,
Right.
I completely understand. And so to that, I would say, okay, the images, they come and go, right? And we both agree on that. So you would say, no, it's not the all. But what if you went up and touched one of those images on the TV screen? What would it feel like?
Oh, it will feel like it's part of the all. It's the all.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because there's no separation. That's what I'm saying. The all is ever present, right? And this is what one thing we don't understand is that the all is always present
Right.
in everything. Everything
So
is
so
eternal, essentially. Even if,
right.
but the
So now
appearances.
so now so
Go
now
ahead.
you're so now you're inserting an external influence, right? And and that would be us. So who are we in the scheme of things that is touching this TV?
Yeah. Okay. Let's say the screen. So let's take us out of it. From the point of view, and this is what I'll say. From the point of view of the screen, let's just take us out of it. Just the screen and its images. From the
Right.
point of view of the screen, there is nothing other than itself. But from a point of view of one of the characters in the movie, there are other characters, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, nah, bro. I mean,
Yeah, I wanted to make sense though. You know what I'm saying to you? So because there's no reason for me to explain it if it doesn't make sense to you.
Okay, so
So what I'm saying is, if the television screen was aware, everything that it sees is nothing but itself. Would you agree with that?
now I mean, like, we can observe. we can be an observer, but we cannot introduce nothing that would, change the, the formula of the equation. Now, if you like, so you're saying the TV is looking at itself?
I'm saying if the TV screen was the observer, not you, not me, if the TV screen was the observer and a movie was played, right?
So the TV screen is observing itself?
Basically,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can say we're observing the screen. Because we're the observer. So if we're looking at the screen, what you're about to say?
Yeah, no, you said it exactly. The TV screen would be observing itself, correct? Or incorrect?
No, just start over. I can't.
My fault,
This
man.
is all me, bro. Nah, this is me. I mean, so go ahead, bro. Just that last part. If the TV was observing itself, or if we were observing the TV.
Let's say the TV screen is turned off. There's nothing on it, right? And the television screen was aware, right? Just like you're aware. Once say we turn on the TV and appearances begin to appear on it, would it be observing itself, or would it be observing something other than itself?
It would be observing something other than itself.
And where does this something other than itself come from to be other than itself?
Okay, I'm literally looking at my TV, right?
Yeah.
You said if the TV was looking at itself, what would it see?
Yes.
So I would have to duplicate that TV.
No, I'm saying if the television screen was aware and we turned on a movie, I mean, we can move past this analogy if it's too hard.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there yet, man.
No. Let's just switch it up slightly, because I think the analogy works like this. Like, so when Gideon was talking about, like, at the very beginning when he made it multiple screens, right? Like, you could put, like, if you put the tape into another TV, right? Like, don't make it a tape, right? Let's make it a broadcast on multiple TVs, right? Like, so the broadcast would be this, like, whatever's shooting the broadcast, that would be the source, right? But each individual TV would be picking up something for you, the observer, to look at. Is that more plausible or no?
Yeah, but it really it wasn't what I was trying to point to. But
okay, then scrap it and do whatever you want to do with it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to.
Hey, brother Moore, excuse me for dating myself with the VCR tapes, man. That's
No, I'm not even mad at you.
Like, if you had an 8-track and you know
what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. One thing I be listening to the brother School talk about a lot is a lot of the Indian understanding of things, and I mean, it's a lot of stuff that I feel that they have, as in knowledge and wisdom. One thing I heard them, like, one of their maxims that kind of like I kind of can dig is, like, they say it's okay for a person that abhors evil, or rather abhors violence and doing wrong. It's good that they stay in the path of that understanding, but they say I forgot how they said, but it's almost better for the person that loves to do that doesn't do it. So it's a lot of stuff, man. Even to their understanding of the so-called Trinity. And when I say so-called, I mean as far as to how I understand it. But it's to me, it's just almost I guess, lack of a better word, corruption of the same Trinity that we see with the Christians today. Go ahead.
Let me just say this, and it's because I mean, to me, and it's just from my personal perspective, I think that the certain Indian texts, right, or Eastern texts, actually clarify a lot of the riddles, because if you read the Quran or the Bible, it both says that the Most High speaks in dark sayings and riddles. And so what I see is the ancient texts of the East actually clarify a lot of these riddles. It's not that it's a corruption, because if you actually read these texts, you would see the exact same text in either the Quran or the Bible. And the Indian texts predate these by thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying one is better, one is worse. What I'm saying is they're speaking the same truth from different perspectives. And so it's like a ancient riddle I heard from the East a long time ago, and it was about 5 blind men, right, who never heard of an elephant before, and they were going to be presented to this elephant, and one touched the trunk of an elephant and said an elephant is like a snake. Another touched the tail of an elephant and said the elephant is like a rope. Another touched the ear and said the elephant is like a fan. Another touched the leg and said the elephant is like a stump. Another touched the side and said the elephant is like a wall. And so these 5 blind men all have a different perspective of what an elephant is, right? But it's the same elephant. They just don't see it in totality. And so when a lot of people speak about, like, if I told you the elephant was like a snake and you understand it as a trunk, you would say, yeah, I understand the wisdom, but it's a slight corruption. You understand? It's because you don't see the totality yet. But what the Indian texts do, and not just the Indian text, but me personally, I think they point more directly to the truth that everyone's seeking, is that it highlights these hidden riddles in so-called Quran and biblical texts. As like in the Quran, it would say, everywhere you see is the face of God. But in the Bible, you know, like you, Gideon, you just said, well, the things you see isn't God because it comes and goes. So how do you reconcile it? Well, the ancient Indian texts reconcile this easily and with ration. You know what I'm saying? And so,
well, see, this how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, from Egypt to, you know, Hatti, from, you know what I'm saying, from Bactria all the way to India, but more specifically India, like, they all understood the Most High. You know, like, even it's like I take the opinion of Drusilla Dunges. She says that the original Kushites, they had the original true worship of the one high, of the Most High, you know, the one creator, which through time they corrupted and divided into many other deities, giving those deities kingship and even rulership on the throne of El Elyon. So with that understanding, and like I said, when you look at the gods or the major deities of you know, Vedic thought, it's I can't remember their names. It's the all it's the all in the all God. Then it's the God that physically goes out and does things, and then it's the spirit. So, you know, I look at the like the Rig Vedas, like you say, they predate. That's like, I think, the oldest religious text as they have. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at that and I look at the wars that they talk about between these Elohim, these deities, it's basically just like, you know what I'm saying, Clash of the Titans. You know what I'm saying? Marduk and Baal, you know. So
yeah, it's a lot of mythology. See, I don't read really the mythology of like the Rig Vedas.
well, see, this the thing. I don't look at it as mythology. I look at it as the, you know, like I say, I read the Bible. I go by the Bible. I go by the scriptures of my forefathers. So before the flood, like, it was some real, like, crazy situations and the way people were built and the things people seen, like it was on a whole nother level, like, you know what I'm saying? And as crazy as evolution is sound, as far as how things were made and duplicated and death made life, and you know what I'm saying, it's basically like the Clash of the Titans. It really was like that, you know. So that's how I understand it. Like, I guess I'm very literal when it comes to those scriptures concerning, you know, giants and titans and you know, gods and demigods, and I take that literal. So
yeah, that's fine.
yeah,
But yeah,
because you gotta admit, like, it at one point it was some real trippy shit. Excuse, I'm just trying to make the expression going on, because like we know for a fact, like, you know, I have a mom, I have a dad. He had a mom, she had a mom and dad, like, you know, so on, so on. But at one point in time, it had to be just one, or it had to be where, you know, like it's like us, the chicken and the egg. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? At one point, it was where it was like ground zero. So
exactly.
that alone entails some trippy shit. Like, so it's not far fetched for me to believe in some old Africans who carrying on a tradition, you know what I'm saying, that there was giants in the land, as opposed to me believing somebody from Cambridge University hopped up on Adderall trying to tell me how they figure out how all this should come about. Like, with their, you know, humanist understanding. Like, nah. So yeah, man, it's, you know, the Trinity been around, like, and I'm speaking of the pagan Trinity specifically. You know, yeah, they say El Elyon had a consort. She, you know, El Elyon, you know, like I said, is the consort. You know, so there's nothing needed to be created or manifested to be besides Yahweh. You know, so yeah, we don't hide the creation of the female in Yahweh like the Catholic and the Christian understanding do, you know. But yeah, man, what school? Okay, school got out of here. But yeah, more. So what's been good with you, man? What's the other brother name? Y'all brothers can hear me? Can I be heard? But yeah, more. So what's
Yeah, my fault. I was away right quick. Yeah, to bring some people back in. They dropped back out.
Narcolepsy, bro. Stop lying to these people out here.
Yeah, my fault. I had backed out on accident. But where were we at?
I don't know, man. I don't know where you dropped off at, but you know, we really wasn't speaking on that specifically.
Yeah, so brother Bernie Bain, who's the other brother who just joined?
It's Plain.
Oh, what's good, Klein? More, where we at? It say we live. We live?
Yeah.
I figured so. So I'm saying, what channel?
This is my channel.
Oh, okay.
This is the Orthodox More. Yeah. Yeah.
So y'all already beat up the Trinity?
Yeah, we gave our understanding on it. You know, what you think about the Trinity?
I understand people got a disdain for the term, so I kind of like try to distance myself from the term, but I mean the concept I think is present in the text.
Okay. Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. But like I say, man, I run from Greek interpretation so much. I don't have much because they don't understand, man.
So let me ask then, since it's a moment of silence, Gideon, you're saying that, could you say you believe in the Trinity, right?
No, I believe in Yahweh, the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh. I believe they're all Akkad.
When you say Akkad, in what sense? Like,
In the sense that,
like what? How are they Akkad?
okay, in the sense that Yahweh is ever present, right? That's the Father. Now this is me speaking. Now Yahweh manifested in the flesh is his salvation, Yahshua. Now, with Yahweh being ever, like omnipresent, like being everywhere, he cannot, or Yahweh or the Most High cannot put all of Yahweh literally. Like Yahshua wasn't walking around and all of the Most High, like the Most High didn't still occupy all time and space. Like the Most High still occupied that, but manifested in the flesh is Yahshua. Just as with the spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, when the spirit enters man, Yahweh still, according to Isaiah 45, covers the earth. Like, you know what I'm saying? So the Most High is still in the heavens, even with the Ruach HaKodesh in you, which is fully Yahweh, but it's not all of Yahweh. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I understand the Trinity. And you know, the Trinity that the scriptures speak to me, it tells me about the Ruach HaKodesh. You know, that's the personification, or that what was given to the woman. So that's personified, you know, through the woman, just as the Father is personified through the man. You know, and when man and woman come together, that's the ultimate act of creation that they do, which makes the child. So that's the Elohim, like that's the Elohim in man. Like that's the apex of our creating. You feel me? So, you know, that's how I look at it. You know, like I say, the Catholic Church, you know, they shun women, you know what I'm saying, and they totally destroyed the understanding, and they call it the Trinity. So
Okay, Bernard, were you about to say something?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay, and so let me ask you, Gideon, if what you call the Most High is everywhere, right? Where is room for another thing at?
what do you mean?
Like you said
Inside of
the
that,
Most High
everywhere.
inside of it, right? And so if you're talking about inside, is it something separate from the everywhere, or is it that everywhere as well? Meaning not that that's everywhere, but it's nothing but that everywhere, whatever that form is.
It's to get to a shortcut to your understanding. What you call every man on earth and every woman on earth, that's Yahshua. You feel me? How you say man is God, and you know we always gonna be part of the all. Whereas our understanding says we separate ourselves from the all when we sin. So, but Yahshua, that's how you look at every man. So that would be kind of like a shortcut to have you kind of understand what I'm saying.
Okay. So yeah, but I would, even if I said, like, I might say every man is God, but what I mean is that only God is. So they're really, what you see, man is God. Like I said, like the Quran say, everywhere you look is a face of God. Or like the psalmist says, where can I go from your spirit? It's everywhere. It fills everything. So there is no thing independent of it.
That is not
You understand?
of the Most High's creation.
Or of him, period.
No?
Because
Well,
the Most High, in truth, if we really want to get to it, the Most High cannot create. That's just terminology we use to understand a source higher than our mind. But if we say the Most High creates, the first thing people say is, well, he created something out of nothing, right? Is that how he creates? Let me ask you before I assume.
Wait, now say that again.
If you say the Most High creates,
okay,
is he creating something out of nothing?
Right? It's brought forth from the Most High. Correct. It all
Yeah,
comes right.
from
The Most
him.
High
So it
creates
is
all
all.
things. Right.
So essentially, it is all him. Because if everything brought forth is quote unquote from him, the only thing to use to form anything is himself.
But see, this is what you gotta. Okay. There is a separation. So, like I said earlier, the Son of Man, or rather Yeshua, or rather he he's the first brought forward, right? And he's the one that created all things. His word created all things. Now, when you look at the Most High, he is separated from all things in that aspect. So when you're looking at a table made by man hands, that is a creation of the Most High. You see? So it's not so much that we're looking at God, because our scripture says no man can see the Most High and live. We're looking at the Most High's creation. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you, bro.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, I don't want to go back and forth on the point because because I'm just gonna say because I just see it from a different perspective. I'll say that.
Right.
So yeah, I see it from the perspective of the Most High creates from His word, right? His essence, right? His breath, right? And so that's why there's aspects of things that return to the Most High, right? Like an inhale and exhale concept, right? Like what he exhales, he inhales. Like the kind of like so even in the Indian concept, like how they talk about the universe, like it's expanding and contracting, etc. You know what I'm saying? So on that concept, like I'm with you in this sense to where like even the form that exists is just condensed energy. You know what I'm saying? The stored vibrations or whatnot, right? So I got no issue with that, right? But at the same point in time, I cannot say that the finite aspects of nature are the all. You know what I'm saying? Because they're finite. They got to be aspects of the all. You know what I'm saying? But I don't say that they're separate in either because like to me that's an illusion, right? Because it can't be here without having been from the source. You know what I'm
saying? Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So when you say, because what we call finite is just really movement, right? So for instance, I made this analogy one time. If I just had a block of wood, right, and I took this wood and formed a chair with the same amount of wood, no loss, no gain. The wood has always been present. It's just in a different form. And so what we call the name and form of the wood that was just once a block, now we call it chair, right? But nothing has happened to the wood, right? The wood is still the same.
I would say I would have to disagree because it was a loss to the wood, right? The moment you cut it and disconnected it from the roof, it stopped being a living thing. So it did lose something. It lost life actually. So
okay, let me give another analogy because the analogies are what is we're trying to take an analogy and run different ways. What I'm saying, just imagine there's nothing but a clay ground, right? Nothing but clay all over.
Right. Okay.
And from this clay ground emerge little figurines, right? And these figurines start moving about, building stuff. See, from one point of view, you can say, well, this figurine of a man built this chair. But from an ultimate point of view, you would say the clay did it all because it's nothing but clay.
Now, if you was to say like a clay and you know, because clay is not living when you first get it anyway. So I couldn't say that if you know, so yeah.
It's an analogy of the eternal versus the finite. Right. This is what I'm
saying. The clay actually doesn't lose nothing. So I couldn't make that argument.
Exactly. The clay wouldn't lose nothing, but forms are constantly coming and going. But the clay doesn't actually lose anything. Right. So there's an eternal aspect to the clay and there's a coming and going, but it's all the eternal clay. You understand what I'm saying? And so when we see things coming and going, we put a concept on these things of death. But like one person said, or I think it was more, energy cannot die. Energy just transforms.
Mm-hmm. Let me challenge both of you brothers on that, right? Because I've been hearing that for the longest time, right? So I want
to. Uh-oh.
Gideon, you there? Oh, can you hear me?
You get.
There you go.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't know what part you brothers stop hearing me on, but it's about the energy thing, right? So I'm gonna put this to both of y'all brothers. I feel energy does die, right? Not only does it die, but before that it dissipates, right? I'm quite sure we all can agree that it dissipates. But let's just do it like this. If a person was to have a gun, right, and shoot it into a plate steel wall, that energy is going to die. When that bullet, which is the energy, hit that plate wall, it's going to be absorbed into that wall, and then it's going to eventually die. So, you know, I always hear that, man.
You're talking about kinetic energy, right?
Huh?
Kinetic energy, like energy that can be transferred from one moving object to another one.
Right.
So on that type of energy, I don't disagree with you, but so that's not all forms of energy. So there's that's why at the beginning, I don't know if you heard the beginning of the conversation, I was talking about like waves and the wave function and subatomic particles and whatnot, right? In the sense to where they don't. You're talking about a different form of energy. You're even talking about like potential, like you're talking about potential and unpotentiated energy that's still existing in superposition. Like this is why like when you split an atom, things go boom. You know? Like so like that's not kinetic energy. That's a whole different kind of energy. Like it has a different set of rules. It can be everywhere, when all that type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I can that makes sense. That make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Well, kinetic energy, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, but that's like coming in a room with somebody talking about calculus, and I brought up a math problem. So yeah. I wasn't gonna say it, but then you start patronizing me and shit. So
bro, I wasn't patronizing.
Nah, I know. I'm messing. I'm
trying to clarify because it's a valid question, because when it comes to kinetic energy, everything you're talking about in terms of momentum and all that type of so this is what I was saying earlier. Like, so there's two sets of rules. There's the atomic world. Now in that world, everything you're saying 100% facts. 100% facts. Right. I can't argue with that, right? When you go subatomic, and this is like real recent, that's when like, oh, okay, this is Alice in Wonderland. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like further down the rabbit hole. You did like I was just talking to a brother about like the quantum physicist talking about the fact like you know what, like we're looking at the like it's almost looking like, you know what, this is a simulated reality we're involved in right now. There might be participatory and whatnot. It might be like the Matrix and whatnot. Like they're on some whole different stuff right now in physics right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's stuff get real deep, man.
But so when you were talking about the Indian text, right? This is where it lines up to like the biblical text in the sense to where like it's talking about like even with Paul's teaching where it tells you to be a living sacrifice, like but through the renewing of your mind, right? Because even in like the Indian and Buddhist, etc. concepts, you get the concept of like the everything is all mind in the universe, and everything is all an incarnation of mind of what you think. You know what I'm saying? And so where you get the concept like I think therefore I am, or from the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks, etc. whatnot, like changing the mind and how you think is like this. I feel like this is what school's talking about in terms of like being able to tap into the all, is being able to understand how to affect things through your thought or whatnot.
Right. Well, see, this is, and I can well, I'll just say this, like the things that Buddha talked about,
mm-hmm.
like, and that's almost with all fathers of the so-called religions that I'm speaking of, like Muhammad, Ibrahim,
mm-hmm.
Even Buddha himself. Those original people, you know what I'm saying? Like they had it, they knew what was up. You know what I'm saying? But it was the people who created the traditions after them that fucked it up, right? So with Buddha, he was speaking of the same thing that Yeshua was speaking of, because one thing, first of all, that I came to understand, or that I realized when I'm looking at stuff, is that one thing that's a fact, like 700 BC Israel, it was still 700 BC in India, right? So things still exist. And with my understanding of the Most High is the author and creator of all things, he didn't just totally abandon, the world. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, Buddha, when he, achieved nirvana, that's basically what Yeshua was speaking of when he said that if you believe, you can move a mountain. I really believe if a person is in tune with himself, and that self is based on the Most High, and meditate on the teachings of the Most High, you can move that mountain. It's basically the nirvana that Buddha was talking about. But like I said, Buddha lived in a world full of pagan deities, full of, certain traditions, whereas Israel, our tradition was always the Most High. So, even though we strayed and did just as fucked up as the other nations, we always had that tradition or that covenant, as being Israel. So, like I say, man, I feel like, that's like even with the governments of the world. By definition, all of them, hey man, that sounds like a good one. But
we also got to remember Buddha's real name now. So that makes a lot of difference when you understand his not so corrupt. What?
You said his government name?
Yeah, his real name. And then
Siddhartha?
that'll help us understand his not so corrupt followers. Well, they have been corrupted, right? So they worship statues and stuff like that now. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so,
You're not supposed to do that. But his real name is Sambo Judah. So
Sambo Judah.
yeah, and then
what was his name?
Sambo Judah.
Sambo? Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to drop that source on me, Clan. That's tight. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's
You
not a
feel
problem.
me?
But at the same time, his family,
thing for real.
yeah, we did the research and found out his family was ruling that area at that time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he was one of the princes. Yeah.
Exiles of the Babylonian captivity, and his family was ruling, and then they got conquered, just like always. It's like Israelites do, constantly doing crazy stuff. But I believe his family relocated, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that his family got slaughtered.
How far east do you think the Israelites went, Clay?
Every country in the earth, including North Pole and South Pole.
All right.
Every landmass in the earth.
Hey, let me.
Go ahead, Scoop.
Go ahead, man.
No, go ahead, Scoop.
Hey, real quick, I just want to say this before we get out too far from what we. School. I know you. You be studying. Hey, you ever seen that Netflix movie Bahubali?
No, I don't believe I have.
Any of you brother, man, if any of you brothers got Netflix, y'all should check that out. But it's kind of tight. It's like about two brothers or a brother and a cousin, I think, and like his father got slaughtered. It's tight though, bro. It like it's a mix of the Vedic gods and how it was how it was understood and lived out in that culture in that time. But it's tight, man. It's tight, man.
Yeah, even about that, that's what I wanted to really get on. I don't more. Go ahead and speak your point, because I was gonna get on something to that degree.
Yeah, go ahead. Like, cause I was gonna go a whole nother way with it. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I wanted to speak about the understanding of God. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we really started with, the henotheistic view, and then we got into the Trinity or whatever. And then, I understand people think a lot of these cultures were polytheistic, right? But in truth, they weren't polytheistic. They understood that these gods are nothing but aspects of the one source, right? And that's what Moore was hitting on in the video earlier. Like, if we talk about the God of providing, that's just an aspect of the ultimate. That's just, but certain people in these cultures worship this aspect. Understand? And that's where they worship in ignorance. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, people think Hinduism is a polytheistic religion, when in actuality, it was understood that these devas or gods are nothing but an aspect of the Most High, so to speak, because they understood the Most High was all there is.
Right. So yeah, I see what you're saying, and I'm just looking at it as not like you're taking out just a piece of the chronology of the understanding of how man looked at Elohim. So I agree with you. It was a point where man, male and female, looked at the all and the all as, the all, and that's all it was. Which again, I'm going back to Drusilla's Dungeons Houston, when she spoke of, the Ethiopians having a belief in one God. Then they came and said, well, the all, he's manifested in different aspects. Then they corrupted that and said these aspects are literal separate manifestations of the all. And matter of fact, they took the mantle, or certain deities, they took the mantle from the all, and now they are the all. So it's like a chronology of the corruption from the all, which is just that. It's no, manifestations. It's just thankful for his creation, and it's just like I say, it's all the same. Like the problem with that way of thinking is, so you have priesthoods surrounding all of these deities, and it's not, whereas it's thus says the Most High, and I can, and as a person who read the scriptures, I can stand by him and say I can be a moral person when I say thus says my Elohim. Whereas in these other cultures, it's thus says their Elohim, but through the mouth of the priest. So, like, say for instance, voodoo, their tradition, and it's just like that with all traditions. But I'm just speaking of something that we are familiar with. You approach the high priestess, right? And whichever Obatala that you're under, that's the Orisha she's the priestess of. So it's almost like the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church is just like that. Whatever that priest tell you to do, but see, the Catholic Church is more tame. They tell you, say 10 Hail Marys and this and that. They kind of corral them, in a modern age, you know what I'm saying? Whereas back then, the priests, they could tell you, bring me whatever. Like, it's however the priest feel. So that could be easily corrupted. So that's what a problem come in with those understandings of the Elohim,
Yeah, I agree, and that's where the corruption comes in with the people, not of the originator or the text. And so that's why you have 10,000 doctrines, because 10,000 people say they know the truth, but do not understand the origin or source. And that reminded me of something you said earlier about how it's all these things, but at one time it was only a one thing, I think you said. But
right.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say to that is that one thing still is.
Oh, exactly, definitely.
Yeah, but definitely. We just it's a way of seeing. That's all I wanted to say. But yeah, Moore, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Now let me. I want to get your take on henotheism, right?
Okay.
When like and see if I'm describing it right, so I can understand it for myself. Let's just think of the colors of the rainbow, right? You got red, green, purple, yellow, blue, etc. Mm-hmm. These are all aspects of one white light, right? I mean, the colors are nothing but light, but they're just aspects. Is that how you would understand henotheism to be?
Facts.
Okay. And so they're nothing but the white light, though. I mean, they're nothing but that white light, just a different vibration of frequency. Correct?
Yeah, just a different perception of seeing the white light. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
the concept of the prism being the observer. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So you would agree that all those colors are nothing but the one, just different aspects.
Yes.
All right.
But none of the individual colors are in totality the one, in the sense to where like so like if I'm looking at red, I'm obviously not looking at the undivided white light. I'm looking at the divided white light in the perception of red.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, since we understand that concept, that's exactly what I'm saying. So what we are essentially is that white light, but when it gets filtered through our minds, it appears as bodies, world, things. You understand what I'm saying? So if you took yourself and each individual as that white light, when it goes out into the world, it is seen as the myriad of things.
Fact.
But if we understood ourselves, we are essentially that one light that illuminates our experience.
Right.
If that makes sense. You understand?
Yeah, it would be an illusion to say that red light or any other color or any other myriad thing is not the white light.
Exactly. But it isn't that in totality.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
%100.
All right, man. Yeah, because I just wanted to understand that. And so getting back to our conversation about Jesus, that's what I think he was pointing to. Not that he was just an aspect like we are all aspects of the one, but that essentially you are that. You understand that white light. And so
I agree. That's why he said that the concept is like we are one. Like, so the term of one, the unified concept is ahad, right?
Exactly.
And that's why I'm saying, like, so in that video I made, that's why I showed Moses saying the Shema and I showed Jesus saying the Shema in the sense where, like, okay, they're both recognizing this concept of the plural. The Elohim is still on this concept of ahad, right? And that you are this part, you are still ahad with the one, with the Father, etc. Hence he's an I and my Father are one. You know what I'm saying? My Father is in me, I in him, etc.
Exactly. Okay, that makes sense.
But again, he said before all, he's like, yeah, but the Father is greater than all, right? Like, so, like, in terms of like the individual aspects, right? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And that's why he's like, no, y'all got me twisted. Like, he's like, I'm not saying I'm like, and again, I want to be real clear. He's like, so he's like, I'm not saying I am the singular Father, right? But at the same point in time, he's like, the Father is in me. Don't get it twisted, right? And I am in the Father. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get it twisted. We're unified. You can't separate, right?
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. If we're unified and you can't separate, see, this is where I get lost because
I'm just saying he never claimed to be the Father in total, like all of the Father. Like, he never claimed to be like, I'm the Father and you're not. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. He was like, no, we're all part of the same gig together, fam. Like that's why he was like, no. He's like, call no other man Father because you have one in heaven, and call no other man teacher for I am here, right? Then he's like, you and I are brothers and sisters. My man's the Father, right? So he's like, if I'm saying I'm the Son of God and I'm saying you're my brother and sister, like, so what are you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hence he's like, no. When they picked up the stones, he's like, no. He was charging the Sadducees and Pharisees with being Elohim too. He was like, no, it says ye are all gods, right? Why are you mad at me? Because I'm trying to set y'all free too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so, yeah, okay, that just clarified it for me. And so you agree that, as the Quran states, that there is no God but Allah, right?
Fact.
And so that fits into your henotheistic perspective as all those are aspects of that one Allah.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, because you can even find shahadas to two other aspects of Allah or individual aspect of Allah. You know what I'm saying, within the Quran, right? But at the same point in time, it says Allah has no equivalent, right? Like, you can't. There's nothing that equals Allah, right? So like on that level, like, yeah, Jesus wasn't saying like, yeah, I equal the Most High. I was like, no. He said I'm unified with the Most High. That's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And when I want to be clear because if one person says that I so I want to clarify and saying it like this to where, like, again, the claim was he never said he was more God than anyone else.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's all I want to say is being equal. Like, because in the concept of being equal, like in the Quranic concept was like, are you saying that there's more than one Allah? Like, because then they're like, no, you can't be doing that. But if we talk about, like, no, Allah has aspects, it's like, all right, that makes sense. All right, that's cool. But like, are you saying there's more than one Allah? Nah, there's not more than one Allah.
Exactly. And so, Gideon, is that your perspective? I guess Gideon bounced.
Yeah, Claim, what you saying?
Not much. I'm looking for the scripture that says, "Who will tarry with me?" Because the way that y'all are speaking, right, has a common misnomer in the diaspora, right? Saying that the Most High is alone, so they come up with the connotation that he's lonely because he's alone. And so I was looking for the scripture that says, "Who would tarry with me?" You know what I mean? Because with that mind frame of him being lonely, and creating everything for him, you see what I'm saying? To be like a terrarium and entertainment for him. That's how it would be perceived. So I was looking for that particular scripture to see if that made sense in from y'all perspective. And if I can find it, then it would make sense to me that he's alone and created us for his entertainment.
Like I feel like the Most High can't help but create. You know what I'm saying? Like so, I don't. Yeah, like when you say entertainment, I don't know about entertainment. Because I don't feel like he's just like watching this on on the TV screen, right? Like we're his soap opera. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's more. I feel like there's more.
Why don't you think that? If he can see everything and then chooses not to look upon sin, and that's the channel that he doesn't like to watch, and then he just turns it off, or he might even cancel the program, just kill every sinner. You see what I'm saying?
So what would be the entertainment of already knowing everything?
What would be the entertainment of already knowing everything?
And watching something you already knew was going to happen.
Does it say that somewhere that he knows everything?
Oh, I love
this. Talking about knowing the beginning from the end and all that good stuff. When you use the terms omniscient, then you have to show that to me right quick so I can have a better conversation with you.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in there somewhere. That God is all knowing?
Yeah.
I have to Google it, but yeah, it says he knows the beginning from the end in one part, right? Okay. Or the end from the beginning, excuse me.
Yeah, the end from the beginning.
So basically he knows the movie before it's watched.
Right, but it's still, I mean, we watch the same movies over and over again sometimes. We just need thousands of movies to stay entertained. He only needs the one perfect movie that he created for itself.
The never-ending movie.
I'm with you on that one. I don't know. Okay, so hold on. Then says he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. Well, I don't know. That's not the one I'm looking for.
So I'm with you too, in the sense where like I actually make an argument to where like God is not the knower of every individual thing, right? Until like, because in the sense for like in the past, he doesn't know the future until it's the present, right? And so like to me, the entertainment is the concept of well, if there is an entertainment.
Yeah. Okay. So my favorite character in Star Trek: The Next Generation was Data, right? Okay. So he said a millisecond is kind of like 3 years for us. You see what I'm saying? So that's the type of calculations that I imagine the Most High times a million. You know what I'm saying? To have.
Right.
So, so because I always wondered. I said, how in the hell did he get mad at Adam and Eve? He literally got upset. And then when it came to Abraham, and it's in two different locations. One of them says Satan tempted Abraham, and we learned through a greater clarification in the text that the Most High never tests anyone. So it clearly had to be Satan in that instance that told Abraham to sacrifice his son, and then the Most High stepped in with the angel and stopped him from sacrificing his son.
Interesting take on it.
You see what I'm saying? So now, in that moment, it seemed to me the Most High didn't know that he was actually going to do it, because he was going to do it.
Right, because he thought it was the Most High that told him to do it. So he was like, oh, yeah. And he was like, oh, yeah, like, you're definitely faithful, bro.
Yeah, you will sacrifice your own son for me. So he went ahead and sacrificed his own son for us. Replaced Isaac with a ram in the thicket. And so the thicket is defined as thorns. And so that's what we saw in that story. So so that those milliseconds up to the very decision that he was going to plunge the knife into his son's little heart, or was like 5 years. You know what I'm saying? 50 years. He could see that in super duper extra super duper slow motion, and said, "Oh, he's about to do it." I drew that sentence out 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and stopped him. See what I'm saying? So that's entertaining. Who wouldn't want to entertain themselves with that type of
See, for me, I think the entertainment would be this, right? In the sense to where, like, so I was talking to a brother in the UK the other day about the concept of, like, he was like, well, if God knows everything, then how you have free will? I was like, so I don't think God knows everything. I think God knows all possibilities, right? And then he's just like, you know what I'm saying? Then he told us like, hey, before I put life and death, choose life. I would advise you choose that one, yeah. He's like, but it's up to you. Like all the possibilities are there, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, all right, go have at it, Hoss. You know what I'm saying?
He's saying choose, make a choice. So in my mind, I have to rationalize that as in let's say, man, you know what? By the end of the day, I want to collect 50 pennies and put it in this jar. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to do. So I go about my day looking for pennies. Hey, you dropped those pennies. Go ahead, pick it up. I don't need them. The pennies are bad luck. Picked up 3 of them right there. One of them got the year 1999 on it. One of them 2000 different pennies. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But then by the end of the day, you got 50 pennies, but it's not. It don't have to be the perfect. It don't have to be the pennies. It don't have to be very specific pennies. It's just what you chose to do. You only chose to get 50 of them. So I'm looking at the numbers in the Bible, and you got 144,000, right? And you got an incalculable number, okay, that he can count. All right. You put those together. The people who choose death, that's on them. So for other people, they think that the Most High hand selected the ones who chose life. Because the book tells you that. It says that he chose us. We didn't choose him. Mm-hmm. So I mean, his ways is just too great for us to really fully try to rationalize we got a mandate and a clarified duty and a blueprint on how to perform to his satisfaction. Let's just keep the law, statutes, commandments, perform the prophecies. That's all you gotta do. And then don't worry about what he's doing. Don't even try to think on his level, because you're gonna get cussed out like Job got cussed out.
Because surely,
you think you're smart, huh?
Now, that's my favorite part to scroll. You know what I'm saying?
You see what I'm saying?
He said, "Where were you when I formed the foundation of the earth?" You know what I'm saying? Like,
where were you?
He said,
like,
he said, "Brace yourself like a man."
How deep is the answer voice, bro? Where were you?
Yeah.
When I was walking in the depths of the, what you said?
Yeah,
walking.
Surely you must know.
You a smart guy, right? Man, he cussed that man out, and man, I'll be laughing every time I read that, bro.
Right, you got, bro, like real talk, like that's a code, like I don't know, like if you the dude to be like, yeah, you know, I'm the one dude who like the Most High came, you know what I'm saying? He cussed out, like, you know what I'm saying, like he came down to cuss me out, you know what I'm saying? Like he made a special trip just like, hey, yo, you
talking.
You made me lose a damn bet.
Yeah, you made me sit up. You know what I'm saying?
I look. The setup was cold. He said, no. He said, brace yourself like a man, for I will question thee, and you will answer me.
You gonna answer?
Where you going, bro? Like, no.
You begged all this time and complained all this time. Oh, I'm here now. So you so smart. What about this? What about that? Come on, man.
That's my favorite tone. I was like, I like it when you guys talk to this.
Why are you trying to think exactly like the Most High? You're only supposed to be thinking according to your behavior. Perfect your behavior. Help as many people that's supposed to be helped as possible. And let's usher them into his society. He has a society set up and structured that runs perfectly. So in order to be,
you know what? Go ahead.
Yeah, in order to be accepted into his society, you got to follow his rules. And it's so simple. A caveman can do it, I think.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's one thing I appreciated about the Buddha, whatnot. Like, there were certain questions he wouldn't answer, right? Like someone be like, "Hey, man, like, is there a life after death?" He was like, "Look, bro, like if I answered that for you, it wouldn't even help you out in the here and now. Like, you still got here and now to figure out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to figure out how to be good to yourself and the people around you. Like, figure that part out, bro. Like, and then the last part, he's like, it'll take care of itself. I promise you."
Yeah, it'll work out. Well, we got these notions in our head that we are the Most High, and there's nothing outside of us that put all this stuff into motion.
Right.
So then we think we smart, just as smart as the Most High. You're gonna get cussed out,
bruh, for real. For real, like that's the code. That's the code right there. Like, when you think you equal to, like, no, I got this figured out. Watch, like, no, like, see, that's why, like, I appreciate the concept of, like, when Jesus was like, "Hey, not my will be done, but thine," right? Because he knew the one rule. He was like, "Look, man, I got questions right now, but the only answer I know is that you're not wrong." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a fact. I know you're right. So even though I'm scared, I'm talking about the death. Super scared. I ain't never seen nobody sweat blood.
Right.
Yeah. I think I have a different concept of that than y'all do.
Right now.
About like even about when you brought up free will. I remember we were supposed to have that conversation a few months ago. Yeah. And Claims when Claim was speaking about time, I think, and how he said it must be super slowed for God, but actually the life you see is slowed down because in eternity there is no time.
Right.
Every beginning ending is already. You know what I'm saying? So when things get filtered through our minds again. That's what slows down eternity. Time is what eternity looks like when it's filtered through our minds.
So is time God's
That's not
TV?
what I'm
saying. These problems we run into
is time God's TV?
For them.
Yeah.
It's like an itch, and then he just scratches it and the itch goes away. That's how sinners, that's how the whole earth full of sinners feel to him. It's just like an itch, like a minor itch, and then you scratch your arm for 4 seconds and the itch goes away.
Yeah. And that's what I mean, like, because all these problems get solved when you know what the Most High is. Like the problem of free will, right? Like the brother was asking you. Or the problem of sin. All these things, like, because when we say that we claim to be the Most High, I could see when somebody's in their ego saying, I'm God, right? And they don't truly understand. They're just saying, I'm God. But when one knows that they are eternal, they're not saying, I am God. They're saying that only God is. I am not. So when you see me, you see God. That's exactly what the Jesus in the New Testament says. When you have seen me, you've seen the Father. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And so is Jesus there claiming he's God?
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't that be blasphemous according to your understanding?
No.
Why? Because it's Jesus?
Yeah, I'm not Muslim. So I understand when it go to henotheism, that God himself in the 10 Commandments, the first commandment being, thou shalt have no other gods before me, and the famous warlocks in the form of the camps teach that you should have no other idols before the true living God. That's how they teach it. But I read it as is, and I understand it just the same way. Okay, as it's written. And it clearly says you'll have no other gods before me. And it's talking about Elohim. Don't worship any other Elohim. So if there are millions of angels that come down here talking about I'm God, and then you ask them, who do you represent? Who's your power? And if he tells you anything other than the highest power, and he attempts to say his name, then that's not God. You see?
So as long as one of these entities says, I come in the name of the Most High.
Right, properly understood. Yeah. So I mean, he ain't gonna be able to trick us because you're gonna have power over that angel. If a daggum angel takes the time to come visit you, then you can. He's not gonna be able to lie to somebody that important. If an angel comes to visit somebody, that person has got to be important. And an angel won't be able to lie to that person because the Most High will punish that angel instantly, and from my perspective.
And so, I mean, so you're saying that the Most High is something separate from the angel and from you then, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and that. Yeah.
So they on the same team is how I look at it. So although the angel came out of him originally, now he is a separate, living, autonomous being that is the holy angels choose and willfully stay on the team of the Most High, and then the unjust angels chose and willfully chose to go against the Most High. So that's how we see those two different elements. And so now that they are against the Most High has a tool to utilize the unjust angel to take care of unjust humans, to destroy unjust humans. And then he uses the just angels to be sure to guide us into his society without missing a beat.
Yeah. See, when we say like, and this is where even the thought of free will comes in, right? Is that when we say like, I heard Lex in the pod speaking on this one time, and the pod was saying, yeah, God gave me the life that I live or whatever, but what are you, right? What are you that God could give something to? Like you must be. And let me try to make sense of it. That in the beginning there was only God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, where do you come in for God to give something to you? If that makes sense. Like, if all there is God in the beginning, what else is there to give something to have an autonomous will of their own?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a question. I'm asking, what is there to give something?
I thought you was asking about that.
No, I said I heard a conversation between them that basically went along these lines.
Yeah, and the Paul said, he gave me. And
Yeah,
so you
he
was
gave
asking
me, but
about.
what?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so no, I'm asking y'all, like, what is?
Who are we?
What can the Most High give to anything? Yeah, who are the we that the Most High can give something to? That's what I'm asking. Like
his
life or
creation.
action.
Yeah, his creation.
Yeah, but what does creation come from?
From him.
So he gives himself to himself.
Well, we are no longer himself.
When did that split happen?
The incubator. That's how I view it. We're preemies in an incubator, trying to survive. And so once we come out of the incubator, we're accepted into adult life, and then we're just still little babies, and then we grow into an adult over time. So according to his time, that's thousands of years, which you think is like an instant for him.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, that's logical.
Yeah, it's like a blink of an eye. But what I'm saying is, like, Moore, you still there? He probably stepped away.
No, I'm right here.
What I'm saying is the concept of free will, right? Because we were speaking on this a few months back, and you was asking about, okay, what about the rapist or something you said, right?
Right.
Going in and out.
Yeah,
There would have. Oh, I am.
Yeah.
My fault. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying when it comes to free will, because first of all, once we have free will, we have power that God no longer has, right? So he cannot be the almighty, all powerful. That's first, because we have a power that he does not possess. And so I don't believe in that concept, but I'm saying once we come into this free will thing, we have a power that he.
Right. That's why I say the most powerful, the most knowing, etc. Whatnot. Like he's the most of everything, right? Like so I make that particular distinction and whatnot.
Well, there's only two choices in existence. There's life and death. Those are only two choices. So we see that death had entered heaven and then was banished to earth. So you see that in the garden, who then transferred death into humanity by his coercion and excess brilliance over humans. See what I'm saying? So he tricked Eve, and that's what happened. So death was transferred to humanity. So now you can choose life or death. You want to be with us that just are immortally peaceful and content, and having every desire we can possibly have, or do you want to choose death and have every desire that you can possibly have by measure, and then be tormented for your immortal existence? Which one do you prefer? You want the now, like the example with the experiment with the children and the marshmallows, right? You remember that experiment?
Nah.
Now break that down.
Okay, so they brought in a number of children, maybe 15 children separately, and they said they gave them one marshmallow and said, you can have 2 marshmallows if you don't eat this marshmallow for 5 minutes. You know how long 5 minutes is for a little kid?
That's an eternity.
Okay, so they sitting there staring at this marshmallow for 5 whole minutes, and about seven of them ate the marshmallow. Then about 3 of them didn't eat the marshmallow and got 2. So they was rewarded for waiting for 5 minutes. So that's what's going on around here. Life or death. You want the instant gratification? Yes. With the alternative, what you call that? Alternative happiness, the substitute happiness of drugs and sex and rock and roll. That's what you want? Or do you want real happiness and real contentment and real desires? It's your choice.
Let me say this. Yeah, let me say this. So, do you believe, both of y'all, the Quran and the Bible, they can't go against the reality of this world, right?
Agreed.
Agree. And so, if it could be proven that nothing created has free will, then either the Quran is wrong, or either we're looking at the Quran or Bible wrong. It has to be one of those two, right? If it could be proven that in life there is no free will,
how would you falsify that? Like, how do you like?
Yeah.
The if is an interesting if. How do you break down the proof?
Yeah, just by observation of what we consider our free will, right? Because first of all, what we call free will is really limited free will, because we understand that our choices are, first of all, if in the realm of time, space, and causation, every effect has a previous cause.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Yeah. There can't be no effect with no cause. 100%.
Yeah. And so when somebody says free will, what free will ultimately stands for, actually, like in its bare essence, free will would mean I make a choice completely random of any causation, right? So, and that would be chaotic. So we're not talking, when people say free will, they're not talking about a chaotic decision based on nothing.
How do you make a choice without causation?
Exactly.
I mean, and so what makes you think free will is a choice without causation, though?
No, but that's what free will, independent of any prior causes or any influence. That's what free will, or the free will, ultimately means. That independent of anything persuading me one way or the other. This is a free choice.
What makes you think
my free will? Well, the definition.
So you're saying free of will instead of free will, is what it sounds like.
No, like free will is my freedom to choose to do, to will to do, right? So if it's my freedom, it cannot be influenced by anything else.
It has to be. Everything is influenced by something.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't look up the definition right now of free will. Let me see if I can look it up.
I'm looking it up right now. See if I can share the screen right quick.
All right.
See if I can get Oxford or somebody. So one definition is the power of acting without the constraint of necessity or fate, the ability to act at one's own discretion. That's one definition. And then you want like the Stanford, like the philosophical definition from the encyclopedia? You want something?
No, you can just give a regular definition.
Britannica says free will in humans, the power capacity to choose among alternatives or to act in certain situations independently of natural, social, or divine.
Independent, yeah, that's a good one right there. Independent
of natural, social, or divine. Oh, restraints. Yeah. Not effect, but restraints.
Well, they are. Well, effects are restraints because if, for instance, I don't like seafood, right? I would say it's my free will to choose not to eat seafood, but it is not of my will. It was something that my genes have constrained me in. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not actually a free choice.
Is it impossible for you to ever like seafood though? Like, so what if somebody can prepare seafood in a way that you've never had before? Like, oh, like that's actually good. Exactly.
Then even that, meaning someone persuading me is not of my free will. That's of another's. You understand what I'm saying? And so even my genes turning into liking that is not of my choice. It's just a happening of life.
Okay, so for instance, like your body's designed to eat, right, or designed to consume something for energy, right? So if I choose to fast, right, and to forego the natural urge to eat, how is that not an act of free will? Because like the concept of needing to eat is a restraint, right? So I'm choosing to go against the restraint.
Yes. Now that's a restraint. Now, the reason you're fasting is also a restraint of previous conditioning or previous, let's say, your religion, you understand, or whatever these things are that have conditioned you to act this way. These are more constraints that cause you to act in this way.
I don't have to have a religion to fast. I could just be doing it for the sake of doing it.
You don't have to have a religion, but whatever that reason is, it came about not because of that person, because what we consider free will, right, is based on our conditioning, which we don't control, and our genetics, meaning our body makeup, which we have no control over. So your up-to-date conditioning, minute by minute, forces you to make decisions, but you don't control your conditioning, your environment, your social status, all these different things, the school you went to, what your mother taught you. You don't control these things. These are happenings to you, which can then control your decisions in life, whether you reject it because you didn't like what you're hearing or accept it. It's based on your body, mind, organism, and your conditioning. Every action is swayed between these two barriers. And so when these actions or choices happen, we assume that it is our choice, but they are basically happenings of our up-to-date conditioning in our biological makeup. Like I said, with
the way my mind is formulating a response, right, is that there are two choices. There's life and there's death. So there's the father of death and there's the father of life. So the father of death persuades and coerces and all those things, people, to choose to follow his way of life. And his end is annihilation is how I define it. When you throw that person in hell, and then hell is thrown in the lake of fire, I consider that annihilation, where it's presumed that those immortalities can be destroyed, no longer exist. So that's how I look at it. Same on the life side. Our choice to choose life is coerced. So I mean,
So
but
you're
I
saying
don't
everything is
understand how that is separate from free will when you do have the choice. That's the whole definition of free will, is a choice, and those are the only two choices.
Yeah, but choices. Listen, what I'm saying is choices happen. But the matter of fact, I think this is a saying of the Buddha. He said, events happen, choices are made, but there's no individual chooser or doer thereof.
You're right, because one of the fathers is coercing you into the choice.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is the fact that I chose, that is a thought that appears in your mind. It doesn't appear when you're making a choice. It appears if somebody asks you a question, hey, did you choose that? You'll say, yeah, I chose that. That's a thought. That we assume responsibility for event or happenings of life. And when we do this, we get bound up in blame, guilt, because this is what I was trying to stress the more back a while back, that free will, right, is that when you believe in free will, which we all come into life with that belief because we feel free inherently. There's an inherent freedom in us. But when we believe in free will, what we do is we take responsibility and blame for our actions, and we blame others for their actions. And this is how wars start. This is how all things happen. Because you attribute the actions to that individual doer, you're going to have hate, blame, and all that for another person, and guilt and blame for yourself for certain actions, right?
Yeah. Well, I think we're
my
being
will,
groomed. Right. I think we're being groomed to realize that those individuals are not responsible for their actions, which would cause all types of problems for human law, right?
Exactly. No, human law needs that concept. I want this human concept, but for the divine, right? Those who understand know that not a leaf from a tree without the will of God. You understand? It's the divine that moves all things, because in truth, all there is the divine. We superimpose ourselves by our thoughts and say, well, no, that's claim doing this and that's me doing this. And this only causes anger, strife, judgment, blame, guilt, all these things that you want to let go
That's
of.
why I was saying, I think that a lot of us who understand that there is a divine, right, and are being groomed to understand that our will is guided by whichever team that we're on. We're on team life or team death. So the father of death coerces, and the father of life coerces. So that's why we say hallelujah and give him the praise for every decision that we make. And that's why the others say, praise hail Satan and power to the dark side for every decision that they make.
All right. And so, but you still believe in free will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you a question. You believe you're in the truth, right?
Yeah.
what did you do before you came into the truth to earn that, to get into the truth? Was there any action that you did to deserve that?
Deserve?
Yeah.
You're throwing in nuances into the discussion, bro. So now we don't deserve nothing but death. But
okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm asking. What made you, out of all the many that are going that are destined for hell, what did you do that brought the truth to you?
Begged for months to have the Father use me, and so that's when I had kind of in the back of my mind, I always knew that Jesus was black, right? But at the same time, if he's white, I would still honor that being that he is the owner of our existence, the current owner.
Yeah. Okay. So what you're saying is basically what caused you to beg for him or for forgiveness or whatever?
Realizing that every initiative that I would do on my own and try with all my might for me to successfully accomplish something, you see, instead of allowing the Most High to offer me great gifts. So I said, well, I can't do anything properly. So I need assistance from who? So I looked out for other people, and there was no assistance. So I just had to lose all hope. That's what the Bible says, that he won't return until all hope is lost.
Yes. And so all those things that you didn't have any control of happened to you and caused you or caused this truth to come into your life from all those circumstances you had no control of, right?
Right. And see, but some people, when they lose hope like that, they jump off the tallest building or pull a bullet in their own brain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's choosing death.
Yeah, but some people then don't even choose that. Just like I would say you didn't even choose to go your walk. It just happened like that because of circumstances. Their circumstances might be different because no circumstance is the same. You understand what I'm saying? So they might have different conditionings and a different mental makeup than you had, which might cause them to put a bullet in their brain, but they didn't choose to have that mental makeup or that body or the circumstances they were in.
Right, but they still had the choice to not do that, though. They were just coerced to do that, and they accepted that as being the most rational thing to do.
But I would say a choice was made, but it wasn't their choice. That's what I'm saying. Like when we say choices are made, right? If I asked you, do you want coffee or water? What would you choose?
Water.
Water. I already knew that. You know why? Because I know your conditioning, right? That certain things in your life conditioned you for that answer. And so if you were someone who worked early mornings and, had certain things, those things you probably would have answered differently and said coffee. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Because life conditions your choices, not you to have a choice to do this. Life is the life choosing, right? It's not.
And that's where I'm trying to introduce into your conversation that death also chooses.
Yeah, but I would say life and death are one. But because in order to live, you must kill. You understand? Life and death are not two separate things as we think of.
Got to be separate things because we're talking about immortality versus immortality. So they're both immortal. People who die they have an immortal spirit. So that's still living.
Yeah.
So even though their human body
but
dies,
then
they're still alive.
They never died. Yeah, they never died. Their experience died. They can never die.
Right, they're human.
So they wouldn't be immortal.
Right.
Yeah. So of course, all this experience of us talking is going to die pretty soon. All experiences die, but that which is immortal can never die. Although the comings and goings of life are manifest in it.
Yeah, but the Most High can end immortality too. That's exactly what I stated earlier, which is that those immortal spirits who chose death throughout their existence is going to be annihilated, meaning no longer exist. Their energy will be destroyed.
Yeah, I don't believe that, but I understand your understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm about to have to bounce, man.
What's up? I'm about to jump off myself. I got some stuff to do.
Yeah, because we attracting the doggone pervs. I see.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah, I gotta clip that out.
Attracting the who?
Yeah, we got porn bombed right quick. Somebody jumped on, and I thought it was somebody who knew from the chat or whatnot, and they threw like we got porn bombed real quick. So I gotta edit that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Well, peace, man.
All right, we'll talk again.
And, claim, yeah, no doubt. And yeah, I understand your point more about what you broke down the other day. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, we got to build more on free will. You know what I'm saying? Because I got to push back a little bit on that. You know what I'm saying? That's a good build, though.
Yeah, that was
definitely
thought provoking. I mean, that is always thought provoking talking to you two, brother.
Likewise.
Mm-hmm. Likewise.
Yeah, have a good one, Fair.
Shalom, man.
Shalom.